Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Stock Durbar by MarketSmith India. So, I think some participants are joining. So, we'll start in next 30 to 60 seconds. I think we are already 4:36. So, within a minute, we'll be starting. Yeah. Okay. So, again, very good evening to all of you and welcome to Stock Durbar. So when we met last time, there was some hope around that 50 and 200 DMA, the red line and black line that we were talking about. And I just recalled the last stock Durbar, and please do not turn on your videos. And we were discussing about this cluster formation over here, right? But you know that it was breached. The 16,800 fort was breached, and from there Nifty corrected more than 1,000 points. So today it made a low of somewhere around below 15,800, that is 15,735 to be precise. And yes, we are in a correction. So there were a couple of day one and day two over here. So if this low, after this low was made, we held about that low for one more session, right? So यहाँ पे निफ्टी अपर हाफ में क्लोज हुआ था. So those who are new and not very sure about the market direction, let me quickly take you. So see, currently we are in a downtrend, right? That is downtrend market. Now how we will go to rally attempt? So rally attempt is a very intermediate stage. That is a stage between downtrend and a confirm uptrend. कि हाँ वहां से अगर follow through day आता है, follow through day means 1.5% gain on higher volume than previous session, then you are in a rally. But rally attempt में जाने के लिए क्या करना पड़ेगा? Firstly, you need to look at the first positive day. Let's say for example Nifty is falling और यहाँ पे अगर कल एक positive day आता है, मान लो blue day, right? And that will be considered as a day one, D1 of a rally attempt or an attempted rally. And from there, the correction low should be hold for 2 more days. So अगर day one, day two and day three हो जाता है, then we will shift the status from downtrend to a rally attempt. And once we are in a rally attempt, we will look for a follow through day, that is 1.5% gain on Nifty on higher volume than previous session, and then the market will be in a confirmed uptrend. तो उससे क्या पता चलेगा कि हाँ यहाँ पे एक potential bottom बन गया है. See, follow through days can fail, but no rally has started without follow through days. So that's a fact from the research of a lot of markets since last many decades. दिस इज द ट्रेंड कि फॉलो थ्रू डे के बगैर कोई भी मार्केट चालू नहीं हुआ है अप ट्रेंड, बट there are chances that follow through day might fail. Now one thing that you should know, see, whenever I come up with the daily big picture you guys might be reading, so I a couple of time I discuss about that pink rally day. कि ये pink rally day क्या होता है? Many of you might have question. So let's say, let me erase this. Say for example Nifty is going down, right? And tomorrow also it goes down. Maybe it hits 5,000, 15,500, but closes near 15,700. So वो जो डे के अपर रेंज में क्लोज होता है, सी द क्लोजिंग इज नेगेटिव, राइट? फर्स्ट थिंग, क्लोजिंग नेगेटिव है, but that is closing in the upper half of the day range. So that we call as a pink rally day. कि हाँ नीचे से buying आ गया है तो it's a pink rally day. कि negative बंद हुआ कोई बात नहीं. So there also you can mark it as a day one of a attempted rally. जो हमने कल किया था. Yesterday we did that, right? That was a day one because the Nifty closed in the upper half of the day's range. Okay. So yes, now we are looking for that rally attempt and then a follow through day. Otherwise, on the downside, if you can see that there are a lot of things that we discuss. Like there is one channel line over here that a lot of analysts are discussing. कि हाँ यहाँ से एक channel line है and it somewhere around 15,200, 15,500. यहाँ पे भी अच्छा support था 15,400, 500 पे, but there is also a group discussing कि yeah, this zone is a good support zone. So we don't know where we will be. Just a second. Yes, so we are not sure where we will go. So never try to catch the falling knife and never come in the trap that हाँ यहाँ पे bottom form हो गया. See, whenever there is a such a strong fall कि यहाँ से 18,100 से 2,000 पॉइंट से भी ज्यादा फॉल आ गया in around a month's time. So there are chances there can be some deceiving rally. आपको लगे कि नहीं भाई अभी मार्केट ठीक हो गया जैसे यहाँ पे था. Right, this was a deceiving rally कि हाँ 250 DM में दोनों reclaim कर लिया. But look at the volume, it was on a low volume, and from there again market started falling. So there can be some intraday rally also, like over here this day. So there was an intraday rally and it looked like कि हाँ यहाँ पे bottom बन जाएगा क्या. But see, bottom formation takes its time. It's not that every time you can't expect a V-shaped recovery. So what the thought process is like, you should understand in the market कि हाँ 2022 में after the COVID fall पूरा V-shaped recovery आया, but that is not the case. The V-shaped recoveries are very rare. Generally, you need to give time to market to form the base and go for the rally. Because see, the technical damage is very deep. वो होता है ना रिपेयरिंग काम करना है बट बहुत बिगड़ा हुआ है. Like you are repairing a flat. माइनर रिपेयरिंग ठीक है इधर उधर का फटाफट हो जाएगा, बट इफ यू आर स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द स्क्रैच सिविक वर्क चालू करना है तो वहां पे तो टाइम लगेगा. और यहाँ पे वही चीज हुई है. इफ यू लुक एट की इंडेक्स राइट निफ्टी बैंक जिसका हाईएस्ट वेटेज है, सी इट इज ऑलमोस्ट 6% बिलो इट्स 200 DMA. सो जब भी यहाँ पे इतना कट होता है it might take some time to form a base. In some cases, it happens that some of the heavyweights lift the Nifty, but the broader market might take time in that case. So don't get deceived by rally in couple of stocks और 2 घंटे का या 2 दिन का रैली से डिसीव नहीं होने का है. अपने को फॉलो द रूल्स. सो इफ रूल्स सेज कि हाँ बॉटम बन गया है 3 दिन हो गए रैली अटेम्प्ट के and there is a follow through day with a strong gain, Nifty is reclaiming its 50 and 200 DMA. So these are all the technical setups that are improving. Then that's fine. Then don't be afraid in the market. क्योंकि देखो सेकंड पॉइंट ये भी है मार्केट में कि जब भी ये लगता है कि भाई अब तो खत्म हो रहा है बाजार, तभी वहां से वो चलना शुरू होता है, राइट. एंड द बेस्ट वे इज नॉट द इमोशन बट द बेस्ट वे इज रूल्स. सो दिस रूल what I'm telling has helped us to enter in 2020 also, before that also, right? So these are try and tested across the global market, 50 countries that we track, and we have a back testing for all of that. Okay. So Nifty IT, yeah, see Nifty IT is almost trading at its last July's level, and you can see the fall from 36,800 to it is now 30,000 in around 1.5 month. So this correction is really deep and it might take some time. Okay, so Rucha, you can start the chat box and you guys can put up your questions in the chat box and we will try to answer as many as possible. So Vakar Rajshekar, my colleagues have joined.
The chat box is open now.
And the head of research, Mayuresh Joshi, is also in the room. A lot of questions started coming, but yeah, one request: don't keep on repeating the question, because it's very tough to in the live session to scroll and again look for the same questions. So Prashant is a question: how long and how deep the correction is expected? Which sector is expected to perform well in the coming future? See, that's what I discussed. That you can't expect a level for the correction. कि हाँ इतना पे जाएगा. There are a lot of methods that based on the valuations, based on the PEs, and based on the technicals, that the trend line I showed you, right? Everyone can come up with a different level, but the most important thing is how the setup is forming. So Nifty will tell you when it is forming a bottom, right? You don't need to ask somebody, you don't need to analyze, but the chart itself, if you follow some rules, then the chart itself will tell you when the bottom is forming. But yes, if you look at those trend lines, and then somewhere around 15,300, that trend line ends, and if you look at the previous support, then 15,500 zone is a very good support, and below that 14,500 around zone can be a good support for Nifty, but you never know when the bottom is formed. Okay. So I will take first couple of this market status question, and then we will go to the stock specific. So Deepak Shah has a question that in market status, please provide the details on rally item day 1, day 2, day 3, and a follow through day. I think Deepak, I have already discussed that the first day when the Nifty closes in green, that is day 1, or the first day when Nifty closes in the upper half of the day's range, even if it closes in the red, then it's a day 1, and that low, that correction low should not be breached for 2 more sessions. So that's day 2 and day 3. And follow through day is once we are in a rally attempt, right? The 1, 2, and 3 days are over. Then we look for a follow through day. That is 1.5% gain on benchmark indexes on a volume which is higher than previous session. Average volume नहीं देखते यहाँ पे. Previous session से अगर ज़्यादा volume पे 1.5% से ज़्यादा का gain आया है, then we considered it as a follow through day and market confirm of trend में shift होता है. If you have missed the early part, you can maybe check it out in the YouTube once this session is over. It will be uploaded there. Yes, there is one comment which is interesting, that the fall from the recent fall, right, is not on that high volume. So yes, I agree that the recent fall is not very high volume as we saw somewhere over here, right? यहाँ पे हमने देखा कि बहुत high volume पे fall था, but it is not that high volume, right? But see, the technical damage is very severe. So just looking at this, and volume is not significantly low. हाँ, average से थोड़ा कम है. I agree, but it is not that low. But अगर आप यहाँ पे blue candle से compare करें, तो it is higher than those blue candles. So Ravi Kumar is asking about how to filter the right trending stocks for it. See, for intraday, there is no screener for an MSI. Maybe you can log into swing trading with MarketSmith India, and there you get it. So let's start with the stock specific questions.
Thanks, Rashid. Rajshekar here. I'll take a few queries here.
Sure.
CDSL, I think, and Dixon. First, I'll start with CDSL. One of the client is asking about what is the level to exit from CDSL. CDSL is a very good stock fundamentally. As you all know, it's a biggest depository in India. EPS is also at 95, indicating good fundamental strength. But the only problem with the CDSL is technical parameters have deteriorated because of selling in the market. Many people are also not actively participating in stock market because of losses nowadays. Also, you can see the stock has breached its key moving averages like 50 to 100 DMAs as well. If you talk about the level 2 exit, I would say 200 DMA, which acted as a good support previously, was breached clearly this time. So that would be the very good exit time for the stock. If you are holding on to the stock, I can see the volumes also have been higher, above average volumes. It means institutions are also exiting the stock. So you should have exited when the stock breached its 200 DMA. Then I'll move on to Dixon. Dixon also fundamentally a very good company. You can see here, but on the technical front, its ratings have deteriorated very pretty much early compared to the general market. In January only, the stock has breached its 50 DMA and also its 200 DMA. After January, you can see here 200 DMA acted as a resistance for the stock. It has not reclaimed that level. And if you are looking for the exit, you could have exited at 200 DMA breach here also. You can see because 200 acted as a good resistance for the stock. In the recent last 10 sessions, there is a heavy selling in the stock starting from May. The volumes have also been on the higher side, and now there is no point in holding such stocks because you can see the markets how they are falling. Nifty below its 200 DMA. Also in a downtrend position, there is no point in holding stocks which are below their key moving averages. It's always advised to stay in cash rather than stay invested in stocks which are going down. I'll take JNFC and BSC. JNFC can, even though the market has been on the downside, the stock has outperformed and it stayed resilient for the most part of the selling. Only on the last week it started falling and it breached its 50 DMA yesterday. Today it was also on fell 2% on the higher volume. Compared to general market, it has outperformed and it stayed resilient. That is the reason its RS strength is at 83. If you are invested into this stock, you could exit at the current market price because of 50 DMA breach. And if you are looking for a fresh entry, there is no fresh entry at this particular point. Let the market find the bottom and let the market move into confirmed uptrend before taking any fresh positions. And I'll take BSC next. BSC also was after making a power to pivot in March, after breaking out from stage 3 consolidation base, the stock hit a power to pivot in just 3 sessions. However, since then it DMS. Now the stock is clearly about 200 DMA, but if you have taken positions in the stock, you could exit the stock at current market price because of general market weakness. Also, stock breaching its 100 DMA. There is no point to wait till 200 DMA because 200 DMA is another 18% from current market price. by the time you would lose all your profits if you have made any in the stock. And again, fundamentally, it's a very good stock. As you can see here, EPS is at 77, and fundamentals also have not deteriorated much compared to general market. But given the weakness in the market, it's better to stay in cash rather than invest in stocks.
Thanks, Rajshekar.
Yeah.
There is question on Angel One. So disclaimer, this was our portfolio stock, and we booked very good profit in a short time in this stock. But see, if you can see over here, it break out over here, right? Then it gave a very good return. But यहाँ पे अगर देखें तो it breaches green line, that is the 21 DMA. So that was the first sell signal that the stock gave, that it breached on the higher volume. The second sell signal was over here itself, that it breaches 50 DMA. And so you see, whenever you enter through fundamental growth story as well as technical. You blend all three. If it ticks on all the things, you go for that stock. But while selling, if you see that, first thing, market was in downtrend. So that is the first sell signal that you should try to book profit and cut losses. Like that's what we have been saying since last 15 days and even in the last stock Durbar. But whenever this type of stock breaks the technical level, along with the weakness in the market, you should not try to hold on and book profit over there. Now, if you have already booked the profit, that's great. If not, then currently it's at its 200 DMA, right? So which is considered the last support. So here 1332 is the 200 DMA and it closed just around that level. So last time also it found support near its 200 DMA. So if you are holding, then this is the level you should look for. Below that, on a higher volume, the fall can intensify further. On the flip side, like if you are looking to buy this stock, then market in a downtrend is not a correct time to bottom fish. Let the market sentiment improve, rally attempt आ जाए, एक बार follow through day आ जाए, and when the stock reclaims its key moving averages or forms a new base over here, small base बना देता है, that is the time when you should buy this stock. Yeah, otherwise, the fundamental story remains the same, that the broking industry in India is at its peak. A lot of new investors are coming in the market, volume बढ़ रहा है, investors बढ़ रहे हैं, Angel is able to capture a lot of market share, and so that all remains. So see, downtrend market में यही होता है. जैसे we were discussing कुछ time पहले लोग टाटा पावर का स्टॉक, अगर आप, if you might have seen how it went from 250 to 300, like you never get a time to buy. If you want to buy a few shares in 5,000, 10,000, then 1-2 rupees price increases, right? And today no one is ready to buy that same stock after 2 months at 220. So this is what William O'Neill always discuss about the market, that the most important thing is M, factor M, that is market, and you should follow that. Okay, let's discuss one stock that has been very resilient in this market fall. First thing, the results were very good. Numbers this time around, yeah, if you can see, the growth in sales as well as the earnings was very good, no doubt in that front. Plus, the fertilizer story, especially after this Ukraine-Russia crisis and all. In addition, the government of India is giving a lot of support to the industry. And I think that government has recently increased their subsidy in the fertilizer. So overall, it's a good environment for the fertilizer stocks. And Coromandel has a very strong management as well as its current results. I think last 2-3 quarter results have been improving. So that's the reason the stock is holding well. But not a correct time to buy again. The same reason that I discussed the last time in the last question, that wait for the markets to improve. But yes, you can definitely have these all stocks in your list. अभी ये best time है अच्छे stocks का list बनाने का. Because if the stock is resilient over here, See, the stock has a good RS line. जिसका RS line ऊपर जा रहा है अभी और that are strong, that can be a leading one in the next rally. And whenever there is a churning at the down, so this is what I was reading. What William O'Neill said a couple of days back. I was reading. He told years back that whenever the market is falling, look for churning at lower level. जैसे कि हम ऊपर पे डिस्कस करते हैं कि हाँ यहाँ पे जैसे टॉप बनाया. See what is churning? High volume पे low price action. The volume is high, right? And the price action is low. So that we call as churning. So churning जब भी ऊपर की साइड होता है, like see this happened over here. High volume, no major price movement. ठीक है, तो वहां से एक फॉल आया. बट सिमिलरली व्हेन यू सी द ऑपोजिट ऑफ दिस, लाइक अभी मार्केट नीचे जा रहा है, इट माइट टेक सम टाइम टू फॉर्म द बेसिस, टू फॉर्म द बॉटम. और उस टाइम पे जो जो स्टॉक्स में ऐसे चर्निंग हो रहा है, लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल उनका प्राइस मूवमेंट कम है बट वॉल्यूम हाई है, राइट? सो यू शुड हैव दैट स्टॉक आल्सो इन योर लिस्ट. एंड whenever those stocks, if they are fundamentally strong और कुछ बेस बनाता है जब मार्केट इज इन मोमेंटम या फिर कंफर्म होता है, so these stocks can do well. So this is a good time to learn few new things. And we also have a canceling webinar on I think next Saturday. The team might have sent you the dates, so you can join that webinar. Yeah, it's on 21 or 2, the next Saturday. Yes, it's on 21st, so you can join that webinar as well. So there will be a lot of learning that what. Okay. So next, you can take.
Rushit, Vakare.
Yeah, Vakare.
Yeah, I'll take a couple of queries. I saw one query for KPR Mill. Yep. So again, a very good, fundamental stock growth story stock, if you can say. And even today's action, if we say in the weak market itself, it was kind of good where it rebounded from its 200 DMA on a higher volume. But yes, the off highs is little bit high in terms of 23%. But as we all see, the market is in downtrend. So considering that the stock is still able to hold near its highs, the stock delivered a good result. If we talk about on the results front, then the stock, the rising cotton prices did affect the company. The company is a well integrated player, but the textile division grew around 34%. Even the sugar division grew around 13%. But there was like margin decline or a margin contraction on the gross margin front, like on a QOQ basis around 292 basis, on account of higher cotton prices. Like if you talk about cotton prices on a QOQ level, it's around 21% higher for around 225 per kg. That's what the management reported. And even on the EBITDA margins front, they're seeing that the EBITDA margins also contracted by 100 bps. So yes, rising cotton prices, which we all felt that can take a toll on, the textile players in the later half of the year in Q4 or maybe in Q1 FY23 as well, is taking into place. But the management commentary across the segments remain positive, and let's see how the stock is able to reclaim its key moving averages. And yes, and how Rushit said that let the market be supportive. Let's see where the churn is happening. Let's see which stocks are forming their bases and how are they able to reclaim the key moving average. Today's action remains very supportive, but let's see the stock to move, make a base or even to reclaim its 50 DMA as well. The other stock I'd like to discuss will be GHCL. Again, even when the stock broke out from the cup with handle base, it's still trading 27% above its pivot, well holding its 21 DMA. If you look at the ratings as well, super fundamental story. So the gives you a good EPS rating of 80. Even in the falling markets, is giving an RS rating of 83 and an accumulation distribution rating of B plus. And the stock is kind of hovering around the 21 DMA, 50 DMA. Good, did delivered good results. And if we talk on the results front, uh, the company is mainly into the soda ash segment. So the management did say that the demand for soda ash has recovered strongly and is currently back at pre-COVID levels. And the soda ash segment is operating at 98% utilization level. And even the blended realizations in the soda ash segment has improved. So overall, and even the surprisingly, even the textile margins, the other segment for the company, the textile segment, even the textile margins for the company is going strong as well. So overall, I mean, talking about the demand picture for the soda ash segment, plus the textiles, plus the spin-off happening for the textile segment as well, the overall fundamental story remains good for the company. The only thing that's the problem at the moment is the market status and the stock being too away from its pivot. Like that's probably very few stocks which are trading above the pivot, and that too way above the pivot at the moment. Rishi, you want to take a few queries?
Walker, I'll take
Okay.
now.
Okay.
RBL Bank, I'll take first. Puneet has asked about RBL Bank. RBL has reported numbers today, and the numbers came below estimates, mostly on the profit front. Street was expecting around 200 crore profit. The bank reported around 190 crore profit. Even though it was a growth quarter for the company, but the results came below street estimates. That is the reason stock has came down around 4% today, 5% today. Also, on the asset quality front, the company has reported good numbers, both on gross and net NPS level. But the stock company has improved its NPS, which is a good sign. However, on the technical front, you can see here the stock has been trading below its 200 DMA for a long time. Since December, stock has been trading below its 200 DMA, which is not a good sign on technical front. On the fundamental front as well, you can see here on the EPS has been on the downside for the last 4 to 5 quarters, which is not a good sign for a methodology which is a growth methodology like canceling. It is reflected both in its ratings. EPS is at 14, which is considered poor. RS is also at the lowest level at 3, and buyer demand at 3, indicating lowest ratings both on fundamental and technical fronts. And a number of funds have also declined likewise. That means institutions have also exited the company in the recent past, in the recent quarter. And if you are looking for if you are holding a stock in your portfolio, I think you have made lots of losses. It's better to exit at the current market price. And if you are looking for a fresh entry, now though the market is in downtrend and the company is in highly sold zone, it's better to wait for the stock to form a good base pattern and the company to report good set of numbers for the 1 or 2 quarters at least. By the time the technical parameters will also improve. So for the next 1 or 2 quarters, there is no point in taking positions in the stock given its ratings. And I'll take JK paper next. JK paper has been resilient in this downward market. You can see here only starting May, this stock started falling. Since by till May, it was clearly holding its 21 DMA, but as the market was in clearly in selling zone, the stock also succumbed to selling pressure. But the good thing is, if you see the price action with the volume, the volumes have been on the downside. That means only a few retail investors are exiting the stock, and institutions are still holding the stock. It is reflected in the number of funds as well. Number of funds is at 78 and at a growth of 11% quarter-on-quarter basis. That is a very good sign. That is, institutions are holding the stock. Whenever the market reverses, these stocks like these will show good upward movement, and it's better to include these stocks in your buy watch list. And when the market reverses and moves back to confirmed uptrend, these are the stocks will give good returns for investors. Anushita, if you would like to
yeah. So there is one question on this LTI and Mindtree merger. Even Raj has that question that even after the merger, both the stocks are falling. See, merger will bring a very good synergy. There are chances that their margins might improve during the projects. Let's say, for example, LTI has a very good portfolio of BFSI projects, and some of the technology that Mindtree has that will help a lot in those projects and will improve the efficiency. दोनों का synergy होगा, margin improvement का chances अच्छा है, but all those factors won't be pricing in this market because this is a tough market to price in anything. So that's what we say that mostly all stocks fall in line with the market, and the Mindtree as well as the LTI are not a separate one. You see even all the IT stocks. So at the start of the session only, I discussed about the Nifty IT index. That Nifty IT index is almost at around 8-9 months low, and so that's the reason. Like they won't trade in opposite direction compared to the general market direction or the IT pack, because see a lot of orders I think mostly comes from the US, right? And you might have seen there is a very high inflation in the US, and the Fed is increasing the rate. So over there also you don't know how the spending will occur in the next year. So that is the reason that these stocks are reacting negatively. Yeah, both are underperforming IT. That's true. So next question is on FCL, that is Phenolics Chemical. Yes, this was a very good stock. Like this provides a lot of chemicals to textile industry, and the textile industry was in a very good shape last year, and that's the reason their sales as well as the earnings, if you can look, was very good for the FCL. But one thing you should note over here that the number of fund holdings is very poor, and that's why you won't see much this in our list. Now, technically looking at this one, fundamentally it's a good story because the products se unka use acha hai, chemical industry is doing well, and specifically these guys are supplying to textile also. That's good. So it made a high of around 235, and from there the stock is falling, but the fall is in line with the market correction, and you will see the volume is average. It's not that there is a high volume selling. यहाँ पे एक बार था, otherwise it's a below average volume selling only. So if you look at the delivery, yeah, so delivery is a little weak for this one. Maybe 50% above is a very good consistency for these kind of stocks. But yes, 39, 40, 42. So let some delivery volume improve over here. The stock has reached 50 DMA, but abhi bhi 200 DMA ke upar hai. So there is a chance that this might find a support near 200 DMA, because pre-COVID it never reclaimed its 200 DMA. You might have seen over here. वो हर बार struggle करता था 200 DMA को reclaim करने में. And after that fall in the March 2020, the textile industry got a very good support from the demand in the US market, China plus one policy, a lot of things were playing up. And then that's the reason not only the Finotex chemical, but you see all the textile related companies were in a very good momentum last year. And so this one was along with that, but this never breaches 200 DMA. यहाँ पे एक बार 200 DMA पे आया था, but support मिल गया था. So let's see if it gets a support this time or not. Once it forms the base and some good fundamental in the next quarter results, then one can look at the stock. But what we are looking is not just the fundamental and the technical, but also the number of funds. We want it to be higher.
If you want, I can take in a few queries.
Sure.
Yeah. So query for green panel a couple of times. Can you give me green panel, please? Panel. So I mean, yes, one of the stocks which was really in favor because of the recent your real estate boom, and as you can all see, and even the companies operating in the MDF segment, and in the earlier con calls that the company had held, and even I mean the demand outlook given by the company was very strong, and even if we talk about the margins in comparison for MDF with your plywood is comparatively higher for MDF players than that of your plywood players. But as at William O'Neill India, we focus not just at the fundamentals but at the technicals as well, and even the institutional holdings and everything. So talking about on the technical front, the stock had broke out of a stage 4 cup base. I guess Rushil, it's a stage 4 cup base. Can you show me the stage count? Yeah, it was a stage 4 cup base, and we had always said that stage counts of 4 or later have like a higher chances of failing, and it was just about a matter of time. Like 3 out of 4 stocks, as William O'Neill said, follow the market pattern. So as your market started to go in a downtrend, even a fundamentally good story such as your green panel industry started to dwindle, and as you can see, the stock is still a better place if you compare to the other peers, still holding about the 200 DMA. But if you look at the price volume action for the last few days, it's been falling heavily on volumes, and it's easily breached its 21 DMA, 50 DMA. And one we can talk about is like the company delivered its results. On the margin front, yes, the company delivered good numbers, and even on the outlook, the company is guiding a volume growth of 15%. But strangely, on account of your COVID, your third COVID wave in Jan and Feb, plus your state elections, led to the MDF volumes declining, which led to probably the first quarter for the company in the last 6 to 7 quarters where the volumes or the top line for the company declined, and which wasn't a good sign. Plus, if you talk about new capacity additions from Rushil with around 240 CBM, which will likely be in place in H1 FY22, when more or less is kind of absorbed by the market. But when this and one more capacity addition will happen in FY24, then likely there'll be some kind of demand pressure and margin pressure for these companies in the near term because of your logistics cost and your RM cost at an inflationary level. Realizations are still picked up, but as we move into FY24 over a longer period of time, maybe the demand outlook can dwindle for the company. But overall, let's see how the company gives in future commentaries for the coming quarters. But technically, at the moment, the stock's not looking great at the moment. The other stock that I'd like to discuss would be KPIT. Stock query for KPIT. So KPIT delivered its results a couple of weeks back, and the strong blue candle, as we all saw, was because of the strong results and the strong margin, strong growth guidance and margin guidance for FY23 given by the company. Constant currency guidance of 18 to 20%, margin, EBITDA margin guidance of around 18 to 20%, and post that, with the market, even the stock has started declining, and it's currently like 50 on a good weekly support. If the stock is at a good weekly support, and let's see how the stock behaves around this level. But with the market, as you see, even the stock's ratings have been getting deteriorated, and but the RS line is still kind of holding around 73, which is pretty fair in this market. But off highs, if you look at the off highs for the stock, it's around 40% off highs, which is natural in a correction. But this black line is the key for the company to hold. If if the stock breaches this black line on an above average volume, then it can be trouble for the company. Yeah, Rushit, want to take some queries?
Sure. So there is one on Bharti Airtel India. So this group was a outperformer before this market started falling, and even like the last month when market was a bit weak, these hotel stocks were doing good, because if you look at the air transport data, air travel data, that has been very good. Also, the occupancies are increasing and average revenue per room are increasing, right? The expense has been under control, and they are able to charge the higher premiums because the economic activity has increased a lot after this 1.5 year of all COVID's ups and downs. So people are moving here and there, and they are going on holidays. The business travels have started, so they are able to increase the rates of the room, and they are able to control the expenses. So on all the fronts, these stocks are doing. The fundamental is improving. But if you can see the technical setup, so this is what I'm discussing. We are discussing in the entire session that yes, along with the market, the stock has breached its 50 DMA, and the volume has also been high. There is a selling pressure along with the market. Now, the stock is currently trading around 12% from its 200 DMA, and there are chances it might find support near 200 DMA. Yeah, see, the number of funds have increased around 18% in the last quarter, and the results have been really good. So this time also, the result was very good for the Indian hotels. And after the result, it went up also for a few days, but I think along with the market, yeah, it failed. Otherwise, the last 3-4 quarters results have been very good, and the estimates are also good. So if you go to estimates and okay, just a second. Yes, over here, if you can see the estimates for 2023 and 2024, it is really good. So the estimates for this one were good. And see the number of fund holdings. 181 was in June 21, and from there it has increased to 264. So if you come to Airtel, yeah, again, the stock very close to its 200 DMA, quite resilient compared to the market. It is just 10% off highs. So this had given a breakout from a stage 1 double bottom base somewhere in the March and in the April starting, but it failed. It failed to make a new 52-week high. So यहाँ पे 781 level, it failed to move about that 781 level, and then there was a pullback to 50 DM. Again, there was some buying in the stock, but ultimately it failed to hold its 50 DMA, and now currently it is moving closer to its 200 DMA. but the relative strength line is still trending higher. So there's some positive over here. And even if you look at the ratings, no, it's poor. The buyer demand is poor, the group rank is poor, and the price trend is poor, but if you look at the line, it is trending higher. So maybe 50 DMA and 200 DMA are a level which are very important to watch. So stop loss should be around that level, and if it reaches, then there can be a major fall from that point. On the flip side, when the market improves and the stock reclaims its 50 DMA or again it comes into the buy zone, then you can look for it. Yeah, GRSC. Well, there was a very strong rally, not only in the GRSC, but the entire group. Like if you look at from here, you can go to the related stock in MSI. So GRSC, Mazgaon, Cochin Shipyard, all these three leading one in the group, the shipbuilders, right? The shipyard, the Cochin Shipyard, they did really well in the last month. And after making a high over here on the April 22, again along with the market, the stock fell. But see, the buyer demand is still B plus. That is decent one. And the volume, the falling volume is low. And what I particularly like about this stock is the way it had formed this base. अगर यहाँ पे ये base formation देखे, see when it was falling, look at the volume. Volume activity बहुत कम थी. And when there was a one spike, the volume activity was high again. When it was consolidating, जहाँ पे वो fall हो रहा था, तो volume activity कम थी. And here the breakout again, the volume activity was very high. And now the correction is on the low volume. So setup wise, this is excellent. Let's see उसका March का result क्या आता है. I think it's not yet out. Its ROE is of 14 and it should improve. Number of funds have improved over the last quarter, but इस बार का देखते हैं कि क्या result आता है, what are their future plans and how the margins are impacted and all those things. If you look at the estimates over here, for this one, the 22 and 23 estimates are very good. So next, you can take Manapura. Yeah, it is not holding. यहाँ पे जब breakout हुआ था, so it is constantly trading down. So we have less time now, so we will quickly take you through some stocks. So see, there was a high volume selling, pressure भी high था selling में, and it is continuously forming lower lows. And I think it's it's at a 2-3 years low point. So just try to avoid these type of stocks and also don't go for the bottom fishing. Question on ABB. Yeah, the results were very good for ABB, and that's the reason the stock was in the momentum. There was a very high volume buying in the stock, but along with the market, it was not able to sustain that gain. But still, it is a very resilient stock. It is forming a stage one consolidation base. And see, these are the type of stocks. यहाँ पे देखिए जब वो गिर रहा था, it was on a lower volume, and when it is moving higher, the volume is really good. So keep these stocks in your watch list. Whenever the market does good, these stocks can really perform well. The probability is higher. See, market is everything about the probability. The IDFC first, there is a question on. Yeah, again, very poor technical. So I think last it breached its 200 DMA in August, and since then you can see this black line. वो उसको reclaim कर ही नहीं पा रहा है. It is never able to reclaim this black line, and it is continuously falling from there. And now it is tracking the red line 50 DMA, 50 DMA के भी खास कुछ ऊपर नहीं जा रहा है. So this is a technically beaten stock, and I understand why this question comes up every time with the stock Durbar, because there is a lot of discussion in the market कि भाई ये अगला HDFC है, but that is not the fact. Let it reflect in the price volume action. Let it come up with some good result. थोड़ा एसेट क्वालिटी इंप्रूव हो जाए, थोड़ा फंड बाइंग इसमें इंप्रूव हो जाए, ROE इंप्रूव होना जरूरी है, 1% ROE है, राइट. सो लेट फंडामेंटल टेक्निकल दोनों इंप्रूव होने दो, गिव सम टाइम टू दिस स्टॉक. Sugar, yeah, sugar sector, there is one question. All the sugar stocks did really well last year. अभी भी इसमें तो major fall आ गया, but this is, I think, yeah. Okay, if you look at the results, so last couple of quarter results have been good. So इनका मधुर brand sugar है, that is also selling really well. And technicals इसका अभी के लिए तो ये almost 32% गिर गया है in very small time, and it has breaches 50 DMA also, and it is trading 27% above its 200 DMA. So it was very extended from 200 DMA. So yeah, this is again a new thing, that not a new thing, but some of those who are new, that whenever the stock is extended more than 70-80% from the 200 DMA, you should start booking profit at a high. Because see, this went around 90-92% above its 200 DMA, और वहां से गिरना शुरू हुआ स्टॉक. So let it give some time, let the market improves, और ये 50 DMA अगर reclaim करता है, अगर volume high आते हैं और 21 DMA भी reclaim करता है, then you can look at this stock. Because the entire the sugar story is good. So Abhijit has a question, that is there any scanner which will help? Yes, there are scanners that can help you to scan the stocks based on the relative strength or whatever rating you want. Just go to idea list, and in idea list there is a MarketSmith stock screener, and here you can screen whatever you want, like up on the volume income stocks, new high stocks, gap up stocks, most stocks. And yes, if you want to build your own screen, you can do it. Filter Indian stocks, and over here you can build your own screen, whatever you want. So technical, fundamental, pattern recognition, everything is available over here. आप अपना पूरा list बना सकते हैं ऐसे. Okay, last one or two questions. So there is one question on Chile. I'm not able to move the. There is some error on the website. Let me reload. Yeah. Yes, true. I think this stock is holding. It is just 12-13% off high, और वो 50 DMA के नीचे कुछ major बंद नहीं हुआ है. And even if you look at the recent volume, that is low compared to the volume at which it went higher. So here also there is a good setup, if you can see. जब कप बना रहा था, when the bottom was forming, look at the volume. So this is something to learn. Like you can look at these kind of setups, and they tend to move higher. These are very good setup. फिर handle भी बनाया था low volume पे, and it gave a very good breakout. But yes, along with the market, it is consolidating. थोड़ा correct हुआ है, but give it some time. Don't be in a hurry to enter, catch the falling knife, or even the stocks that are resilient. जब तक market improve नहीं होता, you should not try to. According to O'Neill methodology, you are not supposed to take fresh position. Last stock we can discuss. Vinti Organics. Around 20% of highs recently last 2-3 week में इसका पूरा fall हुआ है. It gave a breakout from stage 1 pattern. So last time भी breakout fail हुआ था. इस बार वाला double bottom भी fail हुआ है. If you look at the weekly chart, so there has been a huge move. It's a multi-bagger stock, but since July, you can see over here, this is a weekly chart. Since July, it is consolidating in a range. और जो ये 2100 to 2200 वाली रेंज है उसमें वो 3-4 बार आया. First, second, fourth, yes. But it is not able to move about that range. So let this time result comes up and ROE is already good 18%. अगर इस बार का result अच्छा आता है, then fundamental is intact in the stock, and if there is some technical improvement after this fall, then you can look at this space. So this is a very interesting space and इसका बहुत growth है. So that's it for the session today, guys. So I think most of your queries are answered, but बहुत सारा बाकी भी रह गया. A lot of queries are pending, but yes, the time is up, and you can always write to us marketsmithindia.com, and we will try to answer it within a day. I hope this session was very helpful. No, there is no scanner for churning, guys. So Deepak has this question. So thanks a lot for joining the Stock Durbar session. I hope it was useful to you. You learned few things about the market, about the stock, and if possible, join the Cancelim Level 2 webinar. That might be also very interesting. And yes, see you in the next Stock Durbar. Thank you.